In my last couple of videos then, we've seen some towering palms and dazzling exotics looking absolutely fantastic on the south coast of England. We've also seen some botanical rarities completely thriving in the walled garden at Pan Global Plants. But I know what you're all thinking, it's all well and good seeing those plants there, but will these kind of beautiful, unusual and rare exotic plants thrive in a cold, rainy garden in Stoke? Well, today we're going to see Shane Bilson in Stoke-on-Trent to look at some of his incredible exotics. Shane is a gardener by trade, and I think there's some practical tips in this video to help you grow plants that are entirely unlikely for your location. Shane's garden is on the west side of the Pennines, which means he gets colder winters than the majority of the UK. For instance, this past winter, 2023 to 2024, he had temperatures down to -10 in what I'm sure the majority of you would class as a mild winter. And the rainfall there, I know we've all had a lot of rainfall for the past 12 months, but I'm pretty sure Shane's had it worse. But still, despite that, he's growing some truly incredible plants. So I hope you enjoy this chat with Shane and a walk around his garden. First off, we look at the front, where in the past 3 years, he's put in a pond surrounded by some beautiful exotic themed planting. And then we venture around the back of his house, where he's created a jungle stream garden in just a year. So this one has really got a lot of take-home points. For me, there's a lot of inspirational planting, as well as some really beautiful plants, a few of which I hadn't even heard of myself. So I hope you enjoy it. So Shane, right next to a bustling road, This is just, it's a tranquil paradise, isn't it? An absolutely beautiful mixture of planting. When did you start this part of the garden?
We started this in 2022. We put fences and gates in first, and then we decided we'd start at the front and work his way down, because obviously I could get everything dropped in with a crane over edge. So I had all my hardcore, my ballast, my cement, everything dropped off just there. I dug the footings, got all his rocks here, and obviously started making pond.
It looks so natural, so colourful, and as people watch this video, they'll see your back garden, which definitely has a real exotic edge, doesn't it? But in fact, when you talk about rocks there, I think we need to show people some of these beasts in here. Like me, you're someone who isn't afraid of manual labour.
No, I like a big rock.
Look at some of these beasties here.
Yeah, so I've got a rickety dry stone wall. It's a cornice edge that we're originally in.
Yeah.
And I was struggling getting up and down, so we got these big rocks in so we can just nice, easy steps.
There we go, demonstrate it. Look at that.
Oh, fantastic.
There we go.
But we do like a big rock.
We do
indeed. It's practical,
yes.
You know?
Definitely, and I think a big rock anchors a garden so well, and it just looks great with the exotic planting, doesn't
you've got your morellii, nice, delicate, blowing in wind, and then you've got your polycarpa, your formium tanax there, and track it. It's everything really, isn't it? As soon as you walk through a gate, you got it there, and then you're mirroring it on that side. Yeah,
and to me, I mean, something I think we're both definitely a fan of. If you want to save the money for the interesting plants, you've got to save the money on buying the rocks, haven't you?
Yeah.
And Facebook Marketplace, eBay, it's a great place for finding big, natural-looking boulders, as long as you're not afraid to put a bit of effort in.
I mean, I got these. Somebody they'd sold them, and the people turned up to buy them. They couldn't pick them up. They couldn't actually get them in the vehicle. So you've got to be strong.
Oh, definitely. To be fair, I actually picked a load up for my garden last Christmas, and there was one that I couldn't lift. I had to leave it, but I mean, it was a monster.
I've got one here that I got my still saw on it, and I cut it in half.
Wow.
So that was one big rock, and I thought, cut it in half and plant that splenium fern there in between crap.
It looks beautiful, and I mean, this garden, you say you moved to this house in 2020, was it? 2021. So you've literally been here 3 years.
Yeah.
This front garden, you started quite soon after, but then the back garden is literally a year's work, which, as people see, I'm amazed by it, really. Such a mixture of colourful and beautiful plants. But, I mean, looking through here, there's a lot of plants that people will know as exotic. So we've got the back there, Fatsia japonica, big Paulonia, Jubea hiding in there, isn't there?
Yeah, Jubea.
Gunnera,
polycarpa. There's a Schefflera taiwaniana, Schefflera impressa. I mean, it's there's quite a lot. The roost tiger's eye. I mean, that's lovely, delicate pink, fine.
That looks fantastic in autumn, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it's really red. But a lot of planting is there for wildlife. There's no fish in that pond. Everybody says to me, why ain't you put some big koi in a big pond like that? But this is for frogs, newts, and for birds to drink in summer. So I've cramped plants in, I've cramped grasses in, osters. They are nibbled, they do get eaten, but frogs and newts sort of control everything for me and blackbirds.
It's a real balanced ecosystem, isn't
Yeah.
it? Not just because you're a nice guy wanting to help them out. You expect hard work in return, don't you?
Yeah.
They need to be clearing the garden of slugs.
Got to be doing some things. I mean, it's not going in there otherwise. So I put 8 newts in because I sold my house. The people who bought my house were going to rip the pond out. I know they say you shouldn't move amphibians, but they were just going to get a digger in, flatten it, and turn it all back to lawn. I got the newts, bought them here. And what I noticed the first year in 2022, I got all my nice, I was wanting like princeps palms and things like that. That's cold damage.
Yeah.
And the blackbirds were coming down, grabbing all baby newts as they crawled out at pond and taking them to the chicks and feeding them the chicks. So we've got this little smack here, creeping Jenny. It's not a plant. I don't particularly like the yellow flower, but it's
as
there.
A ground cover. Yeah.
It's there as little baby newts can crawl underneath it and they don't get eaten.
Very true. And I think your garden really, it strikes a proper interesting balance between, rare and unusual exotics. There's a lot of plants here which I couldn't recognise, definitely. Yeah. You've also got a real sort of just properly beautiful garden, full of flowers, like the daylilies there, a lot of agapanthus, plants that people will know and love.
From the mimulus, I mean, that's fantastic. And most of these are from plants gardens at work.
Oh, yeah. No. That's it. You're weeding for them, aren't you?
Yeah.
I've heard your story, Shane.
I mean, your herbaceous perennials, every 3 years, you need to split and divide to reinvigorate them.
Exactly, yeah.
So, obviously, I'm a gardener. Virtually everything in here, the Gunnera included, the ferns, everything, all the pond plants.
Beautiful water lilies.
The water lilies, they came from my sisters. I basically, other than the Scheffleras and the tetrapanax and the loquat, everything else is a gift.
Oh, a gift. Or worse than that, something you've been paid to remove.
Yeah. Or often I'm paid to thin them out and weed them out.
No, definitely. And the third point I was going to say is that everything in your garden seems to serve a purpose, doesn't it? And I love that real thought. And to me, that's being a professional gardener, having a full life. You're now 65, aren't you, Shane?
Yeah. I'm nearly 70. I'm pushing 70.
So you're 75 years old. You've got a career of horticultural knowledge. But to me, it's the way that you haven't just plonked things in because they look nice. Running through the whole garden, behind the beauty, there's a real layer of sort of practicality, isn't there? So your jabea up there, for instance, that's on the top of a slope, isn't it? You've given that the drainage.
It slopes in all directions behind there. There's a good 3-foot drop there. It might not seem like it with plants, but actually gardens, there's quite
really
a drop.
Drops down.
If I stand down here, you're like, that top layer there is almost at that height. But it don't feel like that really when you it does in winter. You see your four little trackies, they stand out. All that's bare. Oh, even tetrapanax are coming up. You can see them.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I mean, we'll see those in detail at the back, won't we? But I mean, your garden is going to be, as it matures, I mean, right now it is very full. It's lush, it's leafy, it's colourful, it's everything you want a garden to be. But going forwards, that loquat's going to get a real nice sort of mixture of evergreen foliage up there.
Yeah.
You can have a row of trachycarpus. That's a good little design idea there.
I stole that off some YouTuber. I can't.
It must have been Yorkshire Chris.
George somebody, I think. I've seen him planting a row of trachys, and you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. I mean, there's plenty of ideas that I will be stealing from your garden, so it comes around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I honestly I wanted to start the video here because it's such a, I keep saying the phrase conventionally beautiful, but to me, if you're not into your exotics, you want to see a garden where there's not a lot of soil, you don't have bare soil, there's leaves, there's green everywhere, and then there's just bright little pops of colour that really complete the picture, and you've got that nailed down.
Not everything is to my taste. My wife does restrict, she did insist we keep lawn, and as you can see...
There is a token lawn here.
We have I mowed the acreage. It took me all of 30 seconds this morning before he came. So I do like to think of, and I'm considerate about my wife's needs. So she's restricted me planting heavily. Said she wanted a lawn, and
I will leave a bit in the video just for her.
Hey, presto, I've made her a lawn.
There we go. So if you're an exotic plant enthusiast, you can definitely have your cake and eat it, can't you? As long as you leave a tiny bit of lawn there.
Compromise.
There we are. This is definitely the right kind of compromise, isn't it? 80-20.
And I've been really lucky, such as this.
Yeah. So I was going to talk about some of these amazing plants we've got here.
Tony Shep, Bamboo UK on Facebook.
Which is the Facebook group to join for all bamboo lovers, isn't it?
He's about 50 minutes away from here. I've become good friends with him.
Yeah.
He messaged me earlier on in the year. I'm going to divide a big KR5600.
That's what I want, the giant Borinda.
Yeah, the giant Borinda. It's not something you can buy in a shop.
No.
That you see them nowhere. This plant's amazing. Yeah. We went to Sean Barton's garden. He's got a huge, just immense. You couldn't see through it. culm after culm after culm, all this thickness, huge height to it, and it were growing towards his neighbour's house, and he wanted it reducing. So me and Tony went up there, and we took probably about 3 feet by 10 feet around it, and we made about 8 or 9 divisions.
So this is a monstrous bamboo, and behind us here we've got some even more unusual planting.
Yep.
This palm, which one is this?
This is Butia eriospatha, and to be honest, it's not looking at its best. It's had 2 real cold winters. 2022, we had 30 days around -8 to minus. I mean, Carver had -13 one morning.
I mean, this is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to visit your garden. It's not just because you're such a kind person who gives so much to the exotic garden community. It's just because your plants have been through so much.
I mean, we're 800 foot above sea level. We're on west side at Pennines, so basically we've got everything this palm doesn't like. We've got torrential rain all winter, because this is like it's temperate rainforest would naturally on this hillside.
This is your one day of sun this year, isn't it? Literally the day that I've come, it's sunny.
So we probably get, I don't know, double rainfall of what anybody else is getting, and we get it really cold in December and January. Yeah, you get some brown, if you look at that.
Oh, even mine. I'll come around that side to have a look, but...
Some people, I'll cut that off, it looks scruffy, but actually this leaf's still putting energy back into that palm.
Completely.
And it's feeding this new growth. And by end of summer, with a bit of luck, we should be back to I mean, it still looks nice.
I mean, that is a good tip, actually, because it's easy to say leave them till they're completely brown, but I appreciate a lot of people, they want to have a tidy garden to a certain extent. Yeah. But when a leaf's like this, when it's mostly green, don't touch it. Just leave it.
Just live with it.
Because there's so much out that's working for a
nobody's
plant.
looking at that.
No.
They're looking at this Schefflera alpina.
There we go.
They're looking at these Colocasia pink China.
Are those the Yorkshire Chris variant?
Yorkshire Chris, and also I've bought pink Chinas from other suppliers and other sellers, and none have been as hardy as these from Yorkshire Chris.
I've heard that from a few people. So.
They come up. I mean, we had frost 3 weeks back.
3 weeks back?
Yeah, we had a -2, only for 2 hours.
Yeah, but that's enough.
It took the leaves off this tetrapanic. These ones went purple, look.
Oh yeah,
that's
you can see that.
Frost damage. Look at that Regerzia. Yeah. Autumn colours. That's frost.
I know it's as we're walking around. So I'm filming this video. Literally, it's mid-July, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got
mid-July, the middle of the warm summer, and you've got frost damage and autumn colours.
Autumn colours on the Regerzias.
The sort of gardening year is closing in at both ends in your garden, isn't it?
Yeah, and
that also, sun's gone now as well.
So we've got, and also, because of rainfall, everybody in the country's had rain this year, but we've had an excess of it. So powdery mildew has been rampant in this garden, and these Chinese berberis, this should be a lovely lime green colour. It was fantastic a month back. It's just covered in mildew. It's dropped all its leaves. I mean, it's coming back. You don't have to worry about it. It'll drop its leaves and grow new ones. And this red one. So we got this lovely red leaf here. I was almost at the point phoning you up. I'd got my tetrapanax cut back. I've got everything covered in powdery mildew. George, why are you coming to my garden? But it's gardening.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing I will say to people is you've left a lot of things in your garden for the purpose of this video, haven't you?
Yeah.
We'll stick with that excuse.
Yeah.
But no, you've left them because it's a great example for a lot of newer tropical gardeners or people
not to panic.
Exactly. Not to panic. And that if plants survive in your garden, which sees -12 pretty much every single winter, has summers just full of rain, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You're on the west side of the UK, you get a lot of rainfall here.
Yeah.
If it can survive here, chances are it will grow for you if you're watching this.
I mean, this is fantastic. This is a yellow tree peony. And I mean, you look at the growth on it, you see how much rain we have. It's like, it's just tremendous. There's plus points to living here. I mean, your palms grow faster. As we move down garden here, you'll see this wagyu. I mean, that's for a new planting, that's put on a ridiculous amount of growth.
Well, I think first off, there's one plant we have to focus on.
So, Brassaiopsis mitis, fantastic plant. I'm not going to lie. This one went in greenhouse last winter. I'm not an expert on these. The grower who propagates these, I went down there, I had about a 3-hour talk. In fact, we probably had all morning and early afternoon talking plants. And she explained to me, Melissa, that you need a good inch a woody stem. So if you come down here now, you look at that. That should now take -10. But the growth is phenomenal because of the rainfall we get.
Oh, you showed me this, didn't you? How much growth is it put on this
there.
year?
That's where it come out of greenhouse. It was there.
So where the growth
it got frosted. It lost its leaves, and then it's grown again.
And it's grown all that already this year.
One mistake I have made with this, I hadn't realised how soft these leaves are.
Right. Okay.
So if you're planting a wagon area and it's doing that, when you have these storms, It absolutely smashes it to pieces.
Yeah.
So even I'm a professional gardener and I've done something ridiculous.
And I've done the same in my garden. It's always the same. Whenever you see people planting a waggy or something a bit spiky right next to something with big leaves like a tetrapanax, you just think, I know what's going to happen.
I had a good reason for planting it there, thinking this. I weren't expecting this amount of growth, to be honest.
No.
I wanted this to protect it in winter.
Got you. Yeah, have a bit of overhead
We've
cover.
got this plum tree. We've got a plum tree there. We've got the magnolia there, and this waggy, and this is south facing there. So the sun's hitting that, and I thought it's perfect place for it. Weren't thinking of soft summer growth. I was thinking of getting it through winter. It's a raised bed. It's got sand, grit. It's important that they don't have wet feet. So if you look at this soil, look.
Oh, that is good soil.
Do you know, that's just full of worms and they love water, these. Unlike Scheffleras, these, if you've got it in free draining soil like that, it wants the rain every day. If that were in a pot in that soil and I didn't water that every day, these leaves would be like.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
But we're lucky, we get rain every day, so
you're lucky. Yeah, I'm not going to let that one go, yeah.
It sounds ridiculous, but for me, I'm at work, I'm not here all day. Dog is. Dog's enjoying it all day. You've got to grow what wants to grow.
I think as we head round the back of your garden, you even have hostas in raised beds here, don't you? Stop them going underwater.
And I mean, these look, that's not exotic. Candy tuft, 99p a packet from Morrison's. Fuchsia. Same again, you pick these up for $3.99, hardy fuchsias. Now, you tell me that's not exotic.
I think that looks as vibrant and zingy as anything else.
And that'll take minus 15.
There are some plants in your garden, which I will say aren't for my garden.
what, like?
I mean,
we've got two.
That looks absolutely stunning if it's your wedding day, but for me, it's not what I'd want in my garden.
No, and I understand that.
I know a lot of people watching this, they appreciate a full garden look, and you've got to rely on hardy plants that just grow easily, haven't you, for a lot of that?
Yeah, my wife loves flowers. You know, garden's not just for me. She's in here a lot of the time.
I mean, it's mostly for you, isn't it? Other than that one bit of grass and a few flowers.
Because every nice plant that's in here, I bought for my back jungle stream, because that's mine. This is my wife sits here. She can have a...
Are you going to do an impression now?
Yeah, she can have a...
This will get you in trouble.
She can have a no, stop it. She can have a laptop and she can be working from home, doing a reports or whatever she's doing. And this is a little quiet area. It gets the sun, table and chairs, sit out here in the morning, cup of tea, have your breakfast. And like this, I ordered this, Schefflera Taiwaniana, and it arrived. And the first thing she said is, oh, can I have that in my bit? And here it is.
So I think there's a lot of lessons here, really. For people that maybe have more conventional garden plants and want to try something unusual, there's a lot of really sort of fancy exotics that can fit in visually really well. But then I think likewise, for the real exotic plant nerds, if your garden doesn't quite look as leafy and colourful as you want, there's a lot of really bone hardy, completely beautiful plants that you can grow around them.
Begonia torsa. Now that's a small one. I've got a bigger one down there, and it's got huge leaves. These are the bulbules, the seedlings off it, basically.
That's one I've just planted this spring, actually.
And they'll get leaves like that. This will get tall. It'll get woody stems if we don't have a really bad winter. And then these, and then we've got Grandis there.
Which one of my favourites, Grandis? Yes.
I mean, same again. They've only really got going. Normally they'd be bigger in July. But we've, like you say, we had a really cold May. We had a couple of frosts. We had a week where we had just for an hour a night -2. And I planted all my brugmansias.
That's frustrating, isn't it?
Cyphermandra, I planted everything got cut back to stems after being in growth from March. I planted them all out in March because we were forecast. We got this tropical Gulf jet stream blowing warm air. Weather forecasters told us no frost for April.
And
I'll bang everything in garden. And then we have coldest May.
That's it. And you can be a professional gardener. You can think you know the forecast, and it can really still catch you out.
It's caught me out this year.
So one plant that hopefully won't be getting caught out. I mean, the sun now is getting so bright I can barely see the wall.
We never have sun. We never have sun.
What's the chance of this? Same thing at Andrew and Marie's.
So we've got Brassaiopsis spada here, and a Peleosteiga verbernoides that's going to climb up this wall eventually. But it's planted here for a good reason. This wall's south facing, although it's in shade from that plum tree.
Yes.
So this likes shade. So it's no good just putting it up front of the house. It's got to have some of this dappled shade.
That sort of shade and shelter, yes.
But it's here because of the wall, the house wall, this wall, the hedge. These slabs are getting warm, that wall's getting cooked. Also, we've got the air vent there that's throwing out warm air in winter. So my wife doesn't like being cold. We've got our gas boiler turned around, cranked up, polluting environment, doing our bit to keep Britain warmer in winter. So what I will do with this plant, its first winter particularly, It has got the inch of woody stem now. It were in greenhouse last winter, but I will put a I'll just make a wooden frame, screw it on here, obviously do something around the window, and then come down to that air vent. I have got other air vents around there just in case my insurance company's watching, that I'm not poisoning my kids and my wife at night.
But to a certain extent, you're happy to, you know, use that warm air, that precious warm air, to just completely look after your plants through winter, stuff your house. That doesn't matter, does it? Look after your plants. That's what it's about.
So I'm going to use that to keep that warm, like a little mini greenhouse, and just do a little temporary lean-to. Nothing fancy, just
just real basic.
I picked up some polycarbonate sheets from a job. They'd taken down a conservatory. They got some polycarbonate sheets behind the shed. I says, "Are you doing anything with them?" "No, I'm not." "Do you want them removing?" "Yeah, I'll take them away for you."
There we go. So it's nice and basic, and it lets you grow a plant that you literally won't see anywhere else.
And I couldn't grow that here.
No.
That wouldn't survive up here. No chance.
Unlike other plants, as we head through into your back garden, this is what people will really want to see. As we head round here, I love the sort of a jungle stream is where you describe it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what it's going to be eventually. It's a new garden, so this has been in 12 months. Some plants I have had
12 months, so that's a bit of context as we just, I mean, this view.
I've had them 4 years, some plants, to be fair, George. That's my favourite planting garden. I mean, that's fabulous.
That is absolutely stunning, I've got to say. That's Delevate, isn't it, that one?
Yeah.
Look at the leaf on that. I mean, it's not, I mean, that individual leaf is incredible by itself.
The full, I mean, you look at that, look.
The size of it. Look,
I mean,
look at that.
That's just, and the wingspan of it, it's like an albatross. It's massive, and it's only going to get bigger.
And this is supposed to be one of the tougher sorts, isn't it? I lost mine, I've got to say, but I think it's more down to a hot summer, not winter damage as such. But
same again. This soil, I've dug in lots of bark, lots of composted manure, lots of horticultural sand, and it's obviously it's raised up. We've also, I had a Schefflera macrophylla here, thinking I've got my gas air vent here. Another thing. That's pumping out hot air.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow my expensive plants in my warmer areas.
How did you work out which areas were your warm areas?
Well, first year I bought loads of petunia, trays and trays of petunias and geraniums, and I filled garden. I planted them all around garden. Left them in for the first winter, and I think I had out of probably 50 petunias, I had 5 petunias survive, and I had about 6 geraniums out of about 50 survive.
So you use them as like a sort of canary down the mine to...
So them plants were sacrificial, and that, wherever I was going to put a plant that was going to cost me a lot of money, it went, because I know this is a cold area, wherever them plants survived. And it was...
That's very clever.
This really surprised me, because this is north facing, it gets no sun in winter at all. I thought this were going to be the coldest place in my garden.
You'd expect so, wouldn't you? Yeah.
But I managed to get a petunia survive here.
In fact, before we sort of go and do a real sort of walk through the garden, can I just show people the overview? I mean, the fact that you have done this in literally just over a year, I think is truly just awe-inspiring.
It's not quite 12 months since I put the cement mixer away.
We're now in July 24, and you started this in spring 23, didn't you?
Yeah.
And literally finished it about 12 months ago.
Yeah, I finished on 27th of July. I remember it well because my backache suddenly stopped.
I wonder why. Yeah.
But I think about 55 tonnes of material barrowed down here and mixed. And
55 tonnes.
And you see none of it, really. You don't see any of it, any of the work.
I think as we walk through the garden, obviously superficially there's a lot of beautiful plants, but I want you to tell me more about some of the structures that you made and the work that's gone into them, just so people can sort of see what's actually involved behind the scenes and learn how to do it themselves. So, I mean, first off, the planting here is a proper mixture, isn't it? A lovely mixture of plants.
I mean, you've got rarities like this, Aralia elata, variegata, and then you've got your common Veronica. I mean, to me, you look at that flower. They're like little purple snakes coming up. I mean, they look fabulous. To me, I know it's not exotic, but I really like it.
It literally doesn't matter, does it?
Triscanthia, Carmine Glow, the purple, pinky purple ones. They flower from May right up to September, and they just continually keep pumping out flowers like that all year. It's took -10, I think it's took this winter. So, I mean, the bone hardy plants, and look, I mean, that flower's exotic. You look at that, I mean, that is absolutely spectacular.
This is definitely a theme in my sort of more recent videos, the fact that you don't need to have, every plant being an exotic plant to get an overall exotic look. And looking through here, I mean, just having that Aralia there, the big Musabaju bananas in the background, the Trachycarpus, it looks like an exotic stream. You don't look at the individual plants, do you?
You're not looking at them, no, you're not thinking,
amounts of beautiful foliage and flowers.
I mean, I've got a pansy over there.
Oh no, a pansy's crossing the line.
That's from the original plantings when I came in.
There's no excuses, Shane.
It's a No, they were tester plants to see what would survive cold.
I'll let you off this time.
So that's one of the original ones that's still here. I mean, it just keeps seeding itself about. There's one in gravel down there, look. I haven't planted that.
Spreading it around.
So when you're a gardener, even your weeds are flowers.
Heading through here, I love this little corner of, I mean, on this side, this glossy, beautiful foliage here.
Yeah.
Is that some rare, expensive, exotic plant?
No. It's Viburnum Davidii. It has a white flower on it. It smells nice. It's evergreen. It's bonardi. I mean, you look at that. It's like
some of those expensive Aralias like you saw in Simon Maybury's garden.
Yeah, Pilea in Solans. Bonardi. It's evergreen, and it also, you know, if you've got a tender plant, it's protecting that from penetrating cold.
Definitely.
So you can use these plants to protect your palms and things.
And something I talk about in my videos, but haven't really done too much myself. When you're looking out your window in winter, you want to see greenery, don't you?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that this isn't a quote unquote exotic plant. It just looks great there, doesn't it?
I mean, this Schefflera, this is one from Simon Alpin's garden. I don't know if it's a seedling from Simon Alpin's gardens. I were up there. He gave me that bamboo. He gave me the ferns. I mean, I'm lucky that
he is a top guy, isn't he, with a fantastic garden.
He knew my art were in it like his art's in it. I love jungle gardening. I want the palms. I want the bamboos. I want the exotics. And Simon, he'd got that bamboo there. He'd had it 4 years, and it was in his bamboo grove. It were really struggling because it were competing with massive vivacs, massive Borindas.
So for people who aren't familiar with Dr. Simon Alpin's garden, I have done a video there and I put a link to it below. But essentially, he has got an absolute thicket of bamboo, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's a dense grove, and sometimes, I mean, the overall atmosphere is just incredible, but you can't necessarily appreciate the individual beauty, can you?
No, and like this has got these little tiny culms here.
So which bamboo is this?
This is KR5600 Borinda papyrifera.
So essentially a blue bamboo or Borinda.
Blue bamboo, yeah. I mean, if you pull these off, you'll see the blue under that. It's not quite ready to come off, but look at that.
Wow. It doesn't get much more spectacular, that, does it, for a blue bamboo?
You give this a month, and the blue, it's got the height. It's grown. I mean, that had 7 culms. It was struggling to grow because it weren't getting the light in Simon's. So Simon says, dig that up and plant it in your garden. And it's got water. It gets rain here every day that it wants, and it gets sunlight. And it's put up 27 culms this year.
That is impressive, but it's not a bamboo that's going to take over your whole garden, is it? This is a clumping bamboo, but a real, it's a proper clumper, isn't it? It's a beautiful clump with big culms and
great colour. It's hardier than 1046.
Now that is a
so it's collected to the higher altitude. So, I mean, I'm no bamboo expert. I've spoke with Tony Shep, and I've spoke with Simon Alpin. They're big bamboo guys.
Definitely.
And they've advised me on the plants to plant in my garden because they've got the knowledge. They've got years and years of knowledge.
Tony's bamboo group, Bamboo UK on Facebook. Again, I'll put a link to that in the description below. You should absolutely join that if you want to see real tips, real inspiration from people that want to grow bamboo in their gardens, because at the minute it's getting such a bad press, isn't it? When it doesn't
these
need
guys
to
will help you. They'll tell you how to plant them. I mean, I've got water there. People say, "What are you planting a bamboo next to a pond liner for?" You know? There is no worry because it's not going to penetrate that. There's a layer of concrete, the liner's at the back, and then I've concreted at the back for 2 foot down. That can't get in there. It's a shallow rooted bamboo. They don't go deep.
No.
So they're not going to rip you out. This species isn't going to destroy your house or your patio or anything. You can plant them near things. You've just got to maintain them. What I'll do is, back end of the year, I'll run my spade down there because I want plants in front of it. I'll just get my trenching spade and I'll just cut through everything.
Just to stop any sort of stray rhizomes that are spreading out.
And that's enough. They won't generate into anything then.
No.
And it's problem solved.
So I know for a lot of people maybe watching this that don't grow bamboo themselves, there is a lot of media hype and fear about it at the minute, but it's a plant that offers so much to a UK garden, isn't it? I mean, you've got that beautiful colour there, you've got that height.
And the way it moves, it sounds like the ocean. You know, you could be at seaside.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You know,
there is a soothing sort of rustling, like, isn't there?
You know that.
Just do that again. That would... Shane knows that I'm just hunting for those little clips. Nah, not this time, you can't, mate. So on the subject of sound, I mean, the water in this garden, it is a stunning feature, and one of the reasons why I love the 50 Shades of Green garden so much, and your garden has that same tranquil tone in the background.
I mean, you look down there, it's running under that Gunnera, look.
That's a proper plant view, that, isn't it?
Another one from Melissa.
The Gunnera, is that?
Yeah. I went down there for the Brassaiopsis, and I came back with that. I've no intention of coming back with that.
It is beautiful.
Yeah,
that is exactly how it just needs to be displayed, doesn't it? It just looks incredible.
It's got its roots in there. Behind that leaf there that's in water, there's an immense root system growing, and it's sucking up. I mean, I know how much it's drinking because I have to top it up
every day.
I have to put like a 20-litre bucket in that bottom pond because that's sucking 20 litres. You know, it's
I can believe
on an
it.
hot day.
Absolutely believe it. I love the sort of flowing water you've got there down the waterfall, and I think as we pass through, I mean, it's only complemented by all this beautiful planting as well. It's just such a picture.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
I'm fortunate enough that I work for a great guy, Matt and Zoe Aston, and they were doing property development, and I did some gardens for them. And these plants here were left over from a job. So,
oh wow!
I mean, these Mahonias, Sweet Winter. Yeah. Oh, I can't remember the name of this one. The Japanese sounding name, Hiri.
I think I know the one you mean. Yeah,
it's like soft caress, but it grows a foot taller.
Yeah, I'll put the name on the screen so we don't say anything that's racially ambiguous. Yeah, we don't want that, do we?
The spider's web, the Nandina. I mean, look at the colour of them leaves.
So I mean, really, this area here is a pretty much catalogue of some of the easy evergreen exotics I've talked about in my videos. Just this shows how they work, doesn't it? Like these smaller Mahonias that get to about a metre and a half, don't they? Fantastic for the front of a board like this.
Yeah, and then they work your way up, and then you've got your magnolias, your palms, and then your bigger plants behind.
I love it. It just looks so complete for something that's literally a year old.
I mean, I've always done martial arts. I did kung fu for a period of time. We went and we used to work in a Tibetan monk's garden, and it was full of bamboos and water and koi ponds and Japanese style plants.
Oh yes.
He was born in Japan. He moved to Tibet, became a monk, and we used to do his training there. And I think that's had a big influence on my style of gardening. I wouldn't say it's Japanesey, but
no,
you know, he gives 2 minutes of wisdom, and we give him 8 hours of gardening and tree pruning.
Hopefully that's not what you're doing with me today.
So that's how I reached enlightenment. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that being around that guy actually has had an influence on my gardening style.
I've got to say, I know with my videos I can often just focus on the individual plants a bit too much. You know, I love a plant in any position. If it's an interesting plant, it's an interesting plant. But I think sometimes it is so much about the holistic, sort of bigger overview of a garden, and it's that balance, isn't it?
Do you know the funny thing is, if you look at Feng Shui books and that, I've actually got my water running the right way. I didn't know I was doing it.
No.
But my water's running the right way, the hillside, actually, and I think it's that relaxing feel. It's circular, air flows, chi flow. Yeah, you've got water, but you don't want it stagnating, or you get mildews and moulds and dieback and culms rotting. And
this is something I think you, as a professional gardener, I often see you commenting this on other people's things. You need that airflow, don't you, to keep plants healthy?
Yeah. So we've got massive plants, but if you look, this path's like 4.5 foot wide.
Yeah, wide than most of mine. Yes.
Yeah. So, I have got a restriction here, because obviously it's a garden, it's got to be practical. You've got a barrier there, got to keep my dogs in.
Oh yeah, of course, practicalities.
But airflow is important in a garden.
Definitely, and I guess it's whether you come at it from a creative or a practical point of view. I mean, just looking across here, everything is it just sort of sits well, doesn't it? Like you've got that space, you've created the views for yourself, the water flows nicely, you can see all the water from here. You know, even the plants in the middle of the pond, like your Xanthodecia over there, they've got their space, haven't they? Their sort of room.
Yeah, they've got air. They've got air. Water moves and energy flows. It's like your body. That's the same in your body. Your body energy flows around it. It's the same in a garden, and that's how you become healthy. These are all pumping out oxygen. You're like living in a filtered environment, aren't you? You come home from work and this is just throwing oxygen at you. It relaxes you, you're calm.
I absolutely believe that.
Trees, water, oxygen, everything we need, isn't it? It's life.
Absolutely. So, and I mean, walking around the garden, it is a relaxing environment to be in, isn't it? It feels really enclosed, but there's still enough space to enjoy within. This Fatsia's obviously seen a bit of cold, hasn't it, to go down the other point of view.
That's what you get when you see -12, -13. You look at that, that's proper cold damage there.
So there we go, a bit of reality. A lot of people that are new to growing a lot of these plants, you get your Fatsia that gets damaged that first winter and you think, is it dead? No, not necessarily.
No, it'll come back. They're bow and hardy. I mean, I've saved this for you.
That's very considerate.
What I'll do is that new growth's feeding it from here, but I'll get a new plant come up front bottom.
Yes.
So that was 2022. This is 2023 damage. So you think you're gonna? So we've had another -10. that growth were up here, it's cut it back to there, but actually that's a really healthy stem. It's not split the trunk, whereas if you look at this one, there, if you come round here, and
I
you look
can see
there,
yes.
it's split the bark. So that is never going to survive. It'll get big and then it'll snap off.
You'll get to a certain point, won't it? And a windy day will take it out.
That's going to be cut off, and we'll let this one grow up. And it's not to worry about. It's just gardening.
Oh, that is exactly it. And with plants like this, they are going to take damage, but you know they're going to bounce back from it. And I think in colder places like here, you've got to be realistic, haven't you?
Yeah.
As a lot of your plant choices are. Big banana there. Do you protect that?
I do, yes. And actually,
I thought you did actually.
I've got a pipe here in my compost heap. Let me go and get it.
What's this then?
So this is land drain.
Land drain, yeah.
And I'll use this at work when I'm doing hard landscaping, you know, for drainage and moving
sort of
water.
Essentially a perforated pipe, isn't it, for soakways, etc.
It's full. If you look through inside, it's full of holes. It's double skinned. So what I do is I get a bale of straw. I don't cage it. I just throw it on the floor around that to a depth. So these are thick at bottom.
Yeah.
So that's not going to go right to the bottom. So I'll straw it to wherever it needs straw, and then these just slide over, and then I put a plant pot on top, the same size.
Just to literally give it a little bit of warm air around it.
And that is enough. That's got, we're -10 this winter, and it's kept the full height.
That really is impressive, because so not only is it incredibly easy to do, but it also looks a lot better, doesn't it?
And it's not one night at -10. I mean, we had 3 weeks where this garden were -4 in day, -10 at night for 3 weeks.
Proper cold, by anyone's measures.
On the coldest nights, where I knew it were forecast -8, -9, I know we're higher up, so we'll see a few degrees cooler. So I did actually throw a fleece bag over it as well. So I'd got the 3 main plants with them over it and a plant pot on, and all I did were them 3 plants, just threw a heavy fleece bag over the top as well.
And there you go. And it's kept this height.
And it takes you 2 minutes to do.
And look what you get for it. This towering over me now, in sort of Mark Goodlad measurements, this is probably about 50 foot tall, but realistically, I'd say we're pushing sort of 9.5, 10 foot maybe from here.
I'd say that's 10 foot, You look at that, I'm like, that's going to be 8 foot, isn't it? So I can touch ceiling.
It goes from a plant that's just alive to one that absolutely, exactly, just a proper statement in your garden, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that lovely sort of climbing plant there, or ground cover?
Mullenbeckia complexa.
That's one I've seen before,
Same again, bone hard. It's just tolerated full cold, no protection, nothing. And it just creeps around. And if you want more plants, you just bury a bit of stem, it roots. I've done it down there. And I'm going to propagate it.
Its journey.
And move it around garden and give it to friends, you know, because some friends want some of it.
Oh, yeah. And it just makes your garden look so established considering its age, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, azaleas, purple azalea, this looks fabulous. A bit of edge clipping there on it, you see. So we're not...
We've not seen that, No, I think Sambucus and Iris is
yeah. This is black lace. They do one that's got a bigger leaf, and it generally turns green, whereas this one holds the dark colour all year. So I like this one, and I've also got there's another form called straight lace that grows like a column, and that's another good one. If you've got like a tiny little garden, like a courtyard garden, you can go for straight lace.
No, thanks, that's a good tip. That.
This is massive, this is huge, whereas straight lace, it only grows, I mean, it's on front there, it only grows probably 2 foot wide.
No, that's
straight
a
up.
much better choice for a smaller
and you get
garden.
if you're into your wildlife, you feed birds, you've got the berries, you know, it's not just looking nice, it's feeding wildlife. So.
I do like it, and more and more, as much as I make videos saying these are the real exotic plants you want to grow if you want to make it exciting, more and more it's plants like this that really give the sort of colour contrast that you can buy in pretty much any garden centre, isn't it?
I mean, they're like five or 6 quid.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
And you know it's going to survive any kind of weather.
Any weather.
And when you plant your green plants in front of it, that pop is just insane, isn't it?
Yeah, like you say, we've got something there that's really like elderberry.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And then you've got Cyphomandra at the side of it.
I've not grown that myself.
So that does have to go in greenhouse. So it's one of the few plants I do dig up in this garden.
So this full garden here, you've literally got that and then a few brugs. And that is literally it. And everything else
stays in garden.
No, that's impressive. And what's this beauty here?
Kalopanax, Septemlobus,
Maximovici, something like that. The one that we saw at Jenny Rogers' Secret Garden of Louth in that video.
I mean, it's fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely.
I may regret it when it's bigger. You know, when I'm pruning it, I've got these thorns.
Do you mean when it's a 30-metre tree?
Yeah, and I've got thorns in my hands and I'm bleeding. And like as if one's not enough, I've got another one over there.
Oh, fantastic!
That's your regular one.
I do love increasingly these plants that are. We'll say they're on the edge of being exotic. So if you're just a non-gardener, you might not instantly recognise it. But to me, you see that and it's like a maple leaf with so much extra character,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Really alien-like.
I mean, it's fabulous.
It really is.
That's what I mean. I'm just all for different leaves. It's just asters, pilea.
Over there we've got Ligularia.
Yeah.
Przewalski.
Yes,
is
that's
it?
the one. That's the one. Yeah. I mean, you look at the height of that. It's like 6 foot tall.
I've just put some of those in, I think. Or actually, the rocket, the one that I put in this spring.
Yeah.
This fern is an absolute treat, isn't it?
And I have actually lost if you look there, I've lost the main plant when we had that -12. It may come back, but what it's done is rooted out.
Yeah,
it's totally hardy.
And just look, I mean, it's a big plant, this, but
Yeah.
not just the overall form, just the detail, those new sort of crosias opening up.
It looks fabulous, doesn't it?
Really
and
does.
Then you put that with your hybrid lilies, and it just looks great. And another Fatsia polycarpa. I think I've got about 6-inch garden.
I do love the mixture of proper just rare exotics that I've barely heard of to completely normal garden plants and all the little details in between. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, you've got Metapanax here, David I, Gunnera perpensa, osters.
Oh yes, no, it's a cracking mixture.
And then your bog standard honeysuckle creeping around.
And then this creation here.
Oh, Mike Collins burst out laughing when he seen that. I'd got a conifer in garden, and I thought, you know what, I can't stand conifers. I'll have a go at cutting into it and getting it. I like my Japanese style gardens. Is it working? Probably not.
Let us know in the comments below. I mean, personally, I know I think it's a work in progress. But I can see it getting there.
Like I say, I had another professional gardener come around, Mike Collins and Anne Collins, and they just burst out.
Has he been back since?
They just burst out laughing when they see it.
No, I can see potential there.
And he says, yeah, when I want my conifers cut, I know what to call.
Well, worst case, if it doesn't work out, take the chainsaw to it.
He said, people pay you, do they?
Oh dear. This stream, just having come from the 50 Shades of Green garden, I love the water there, and I think you've got the same feeling. Just the way it sort of travels through the garden. I think a stream is so much more, just energetic than a pond, isn't it?
Me being me, I wanted to go for the high waterfall, the big splash, the dramatic.
When you say high waterfall, Shane, how tall are we talking? Like pretty much the height of the house, that's what we're going for.
Yeah, we were talking like 5-6 foot, and I set one up temporary with the pump running and everything, and my wife sat in the swing chair there, and she was like, I can't listen to that.
The thundering volume at the microphones next to your house.
We've got neighbours, you can't, they want to sleep at night.
Yeah.
So she made me, I'd actually cemented a lot in, she made me take them down, and then shallow the angles so it were a quieter trickling.
Yeah.
And like this one, I wanted to drop here, and she said it's too noisy, it's giving me a headache. So I actually reconcreted it at an angle so it just trickles in. And
everything just looks so I can't believe this is a year old.
I mean, this idea of this was Tony Sheff. I'd done that point, and I was like, I'm used to working in big gardens, so for me, working in a smaller garden, I find it hard to throttle myself back.
Yeah, you want your big Chatsworth style fountain, don't you, up there?
The gardens I work in at work, they're like 5-6 acres, one's got 23.
Wow.
They're huge gardens, and you can just get carried away.
Oh, I bet you can.
And then you move here, you've got 160 foot by 50 foot. You want everything, like we all do.
Of course you do, of course
we want it all. We want every tree, we want every water feature, we want a giant water, and it doesn't look right.
No.
It doesn't sound right. And luckily I've got my wife to throttle me back. People like Tony Shep come down, they give me some pointers. We're going to come this way, which stream, across here. Tony says, no, you want to go that way. And actually he's right, it really works.
No, I like the flow to it. It opens that area up more, doesn't it?
It's like,
and also we're not literally, here getting drenched.
I'm a professional
water
gardener. I don't need to listen. I listen to everybody, because you learn every day in this job.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, I'll learn from you, learn from Simon,
works your way around,
Tony, everybody I see, Mike and Anne, Melissa, they've all got knowledge.
Oh, absolutely.
Steve Jacobs, another one, the Tetrapanax guy. He's grown and hybridised numerous cannas and things. I've took and listened to his advice. That Arandodonax, that's from his garden.
Oh, the one out the front, a real tough one.
It survived 2010 when it was -15.
Wow.
So
it's a tough plant.
Source them plants from them people that have got through. I'm in a cold area. I've had to really look for the ones that will survive, like Rex. It's no good having a steroidal giant here. It's not going to last.
No. So you need the tough, Rex
I mean,
form.
I tried one. It died. It never came back.
Yeah, to be honest, I've lost one as well myself.
So your Rex, your Empress, your standard form will probably come back. I'm pushing it though if we go a -13, -14.
Oh, for a week or so, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
we had 3 weeks of that.
that is
It was
proper cold,
shocking.
isn't it?
It was-
Absolutely proper cold.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back to the point of inspiration, often, you know, when I'm filming my videos, it's a day where I could either be doing a bit of work in my garden or coming out and filming, but I get so much from just going out and visiting people like yourself. I get the ideas that will be incorporated in my garden. And
I steal ideas from everybody.
yeah, it's borrowing, isn't it? Borrowing.
Yeah, I call it stealing.
Yeah, we'll call it stealing.
Naughty.
I mean, looking around here, to me, like, you've got the same sort of bark area as Simon Alpin has in his garden, and that just highlights the plants so well.
Yeah.
You've got a stream, you know, similar to one that I've seen in the 50 Shades of Green garden, the way it sort of winds through, you've instantly got, rather than just one water feature over there, it just makes the whole garden just flow, so it will literally flow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this just looks so well built, this, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, this were free. They got these free. Again, my friend Matt Aston, Zoe Aston, thank you very much. Give him a bit of a plug. And I'm the same with plants. I mean, like for me, you've got Sunk Island and Linden Nurseries. For us, it's No Bridge Nurseries.
Oh yeah, I do want to go there at some point. Yeah.
You go there, Dave. He'll talk to you. He'll give you advice. He'll tell you how to plant things, what to do with them, how to look after them. He's your for me. West Midlands, No Bridge is the go-to place.
Got you. I've seen a lot of things. Yes.
I buy me plants. He don't give me plants. He give me one, but
Oh, no.
like plant people do, we swap plants.
Oh, of course, yeah. Give you one to get you hooked, and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The customer for life. Yeah.
And I'm saying, if I've got something he wants, you can come here and take it. Like, well, you've got a couple of begonias up there.
You've got me a present, so
if
thank
you
you
come
very
in here,
much.
you go away with something. It's how it is.
Oh, there we go.
Gardening, isn't it?
Very kind of you, Shane.
And we all do it.
Very kind of you.
I mean, Tony and Simon Alpin, I was going to have one bamboo, and I've got a Fatsia of Wengzu at back at garage there. Yes. I've got a Borinda here, Robusta Campbell there. I've got a Morelli, I've got a Yunnan 2 at back at Pond. I've got a KR56.
A proper
It's
collection.
addictive. You get around these serious growers, and the way they talk, and they make you want it.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, having just been to the Pangloba garden, I started out thinking, I want to look at, an agave, and I want to look at bamboo, but you end up thinking, I want this fennel, I want this foxglove, and it's just hearing about the little stories, what makes plants special. But I mean, as I pass over here, obviously, again, we've got reclaimed stones, but the amount of work and material to actually bed this in and make it so solid.
Yeah, I've had to dig down.
That's real graft, that, isn't it?
2.5 feet, bringing loads of MOT. You've got MOT that deep, you've got that much concrete. That sets, you leave that 3 weeks, and then you bed all your rocks, and they're on a bed. And that's what makes it bamboo proof as well, the depth of concrete I've got.
Got you. Yeah, it's not just a thin sort of layer, is it?
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I can walk up here, none of these wobble.
I want to film this.
This is where I fall, it's slip and fall in. So I can walk on up, none of these will move.
I mean, you can jump on there, can't you? You can dance on there.
They're all, I can get up here, I can manage me Gunnera. And if dog runs up here, it's concrete. So it's not that, it's not, it's not going to rip a liner.
No.
The shallow bit, I've learnt from I keep bull mastiffs, I breed bull mastiffs, and the number of ponds I've had dogs knock boulders in and things like that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Chasing a squirrel or
the big dogs to be playing around the garden, aren't they?
Yeah, and when they get like your dogs get the zoomies, they have the mad half hour going. Well, bull mastiffs do that, but they're 75 and 55 kg.
Oh yeah, rather than sort of 6.
Another reason for the circle.
It's just not just about Japanese Zen and all that, is it? It's just very practical
dog flow. And they're chasing each other. When one's got a toy, another one wants it. This room, your other video.
Oh yeah. Again, I am a fan, but I appreciate it's a plant with a reputation, isn't it?
I want more of it. I want it to fill this bed. So when I'm waiting 6 months for my colocasias to come on,
which you can do.
I'm not really. I've got daffodils and things in here as well. But yeah, I'm waiting for these to come on. I still want some green because that all basically once Daffs and Crown Imperials had died, I got nothing there.
No, it's a waiting game till end of July, isn't it? Really?
These have been left in over winter. All of these.
Yeah.
And they're only just coming up.
I mean, that is something that I have to address in this video. This year, yes, it was a mild start, but for the real sort of tropical plants, i.e. colocasia, cannas that need that heat to get them going, they're pretty much, it's a non-starter, isn't it, so far?
Even this persicaria. It's one from Melissa. I've forgotten what name it is, to be honest.
Is that the Virginiana? I want to say that one.
It's got a longer leaf and a long flower, comes out like a
so the Virginiana or a Compton's form,
and that's silver dragon, not red dragon. So I like my persicarias. They just
do the thing, don't they?
Yeah, they just give you that. I mean, I've got more here. It's just like Persicaria land.
Everything. And on the subject of your Rexes, now you've obviously said this is a cold garden.
Yeah.
I can see some old dead stems down there.
Oh yeah.
This growth, I remember seeing a photo of you with your sort of maniacal grin amongst these. This is a proper thicket of Rexes, but this previous winter has cut them right back, hasn't it?
Right back to the floor. Below -10 again. We had it for over a week. It was cold every night, you know, like varying between -8 and -10.5. These wouldn't get cut back at that temperature. I've had them in 2021. They didn't get cut back because they'd got a 2-year-old woody stem.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Because they'd been cut back the year before with a -12, 13.
Right.
All fresh new growth. It's up here. They were up at 8 feet. Them stems had not got no wood in them, and then we get bump below -10 again. Then the bark's split, they've just withered up to nothing. And they're coming back from floor. And you look at that, I mean, that's what, 3.5 foot? Probably over.
Yeah. So it must be frustrating to you when you hear other people say it's been a relatively mild winter, and you've had cold. Just you've been in the freezer for 3 days.
I'm sat there sobbing, looking at me crumbling stems are all my plants in March.
I mean, one thing I always say is that when it's cold, it cuts back the soft growth, and if your plant is just soft growth, it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like these, they have to start from the ground again.
But the positive is, we're a 2-year-old plant when I bought it from Steve Jacobs because he's got the true Rex.
He is Mr. Rex, isn't
Rex.
he? Yes.
He were a 2-year-old plant. It survived its first winter fine. It was below -10. It didn't touch it. It was really hardy. But the 2022, it was so cold for 3 weeks. It'll be raining again now.
Brutal cold.
Subtropical rainforest.
Yeah. I came expecting it today.
So but the root system on this now, because it's a 6-year-old plant, these won't be like a pup you buy. You buy a pup in a plant pot.
That's it, where you need to look after it. Yeah.
It's got a 6-year-old root system, even though it's only been in this garden from 2021. It was one of the first plants I planted in. These will shoot up. These will be 8 feet by September.
It's got all that energy underground, hasn't it?
It's got a massive root system.
Even after a cold winter and a subsequent cool spring, they're still like an interesting foliage plant, don't they? They look good. So I think we need to head further around and see. I mean, we've got a Rayum over there, haven't we? Beautiful one. And a Butilon, is that behind it?
Yeah, Vitifolium. Blue flower, white flower, or lilac flower.
Perfectly tough and hardy?
Yeah, this stays evergreen. It's outside all year, evergreen. I mean, it looks amazing. Do you know?
It definitely does, yeah.
That's looking like that in December and January.
Yeah.
How many plants do you get that are like that? You've got begonias, you've got Schefflera, Brassaiopsis, and this one's different to Taiwan. If you look, it's got that leaf coming out of the centre there.
Oh, yeah. That's
so if you look, on every one you get that, so that's how you know it's Brassaiopsis.
I've never actually noticed that before, but yeah, there we go.
And that, if you look, I've actually got this in a pot because it came as a tiny plant. That's still not woody.
No.
So I will dig that up this winter
and remove it.
It'll go in greenhouse. Yeah.
There we go.
And then next year it'll get planted properly because it's like, I mean, I've had it 2 years. You get these plants, they're like inch stem, 2 leaves on them, and they're 50 quid.
You need to look after the first couple of years.
Yeah, so you like you say, until they've got the woody stem. The only one that's different is Alpina. That's bone hardy from tiny.
And weirdly, that's one I've actually lost myself.
It's probably a bit wet, the ground.
Potentially, potentially.
Like you say, that it's sandy soil anyway, and I've raised that soil up. The actual lawn level, because it was lawn from here, that's the original lawn level there. So if you look there...
Oh, it is substantially raised up, isn't it?
And it dropped down into lawn by a couple of inches.
One of my sort of personal things, I think so many people when they're designing or creating a garden, they forget to change the levels, and not just for the plants, but just for the feel of the garden.
Well, like this, there were decking here coming off of that block paving there. I mean, I've kept it because it's I want to feel eventually a jungle taking over an old... So I've used all old stone, I've used old slabs, and that was
exactly the same as me.
I want it to feel like it's been here 100 years. You can't get that with new porcelain.
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely. To me, it's that sort of feel of like, this is something that was built solidly, where nature is slowly sort of creeping onto it and encroaching on.
Yeah, it's taking over.
We need to see down the side of your house.
Yeah. Now this is brand new. I mean, this was planted up in March.
This is a Trachypis nova, which usually look very sort of elongated, don't they? Very leggy.
Yeah, this plant, Ed Croft phoned me up. He said, he knew her after a nova. He says, it's been planted in the wrong place. It's been battered by wind. It's got no leaf. Well, it got 2 really battered leaves. He says, but it's a cracking plant with a good root system, and it's got 4 foot of trunk. So I got this last year. I drove down there, picked it up, and I mean, you look at the growth, and that's a new planting. It's that, so you can see how fast they grow.
Nova is one I featured in my video on the fastest growing palms in my garden.
Yeah.
It is a rocket.
And that's not even got its roots in yet. And
no.
It's put a foot of trunk on.
So I wouldn't be surprised if over the next couple of years, this another foot of trunk and those leaves will be twice as long.
And it's sheltered. You've got the 2 houses, the trees, you've got the pine trees, so it's not going to get battered here. I planted it in the right spot.
To enjoy that sort of
Fingers
luxurious
crossed.
foliage. Yeah, always fingers crossed, always fingers crossed. And I mean, just before we finish this video, let's look at some of the, I mean, there's probably some of the most exciting plants in this area, isn't there?
Yeah.
Starting with one that doesn't look much right now.
It looks like a bit of grass.
It looks like a bit of grass, but is potentially one of the most exciting bamboos you can grow here.
Shefflera gigantea.
That is a true monster, isn't it?
And I've got drains there. And you're like, why are you planting a bamboo there? Well, it's actually in a massive, thick fiberglass pot. It can't get out of that.
No, usually my advice is don't use anything but proper rhizome barrier,
I mean,
because you see some people cutting corners, but
that is like, it's over 5 mil thick.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that. That is not going to rot down, and it is not going to break that.
It's got UV stabilisers in. It's the proper. It's an expense. I got it for nothing again from work. Yeah, as I do.
Well, there you go. So for people who don't know Truscaya, it's a clumping bamboo. Technically,
it's got a huge rhizome,
a huge deep rhizome,
and it's aggressive. It's a clumper, but it spreads.
It wants to take over half a garden.
Yeah.
It genuinely is one of those bamboos. The actual canes or culms on it are so thick and woody, aren't they?
Yeah,
it really is a striking.
I can't wait for it to grow. That's a seedling. Again, Yorkshire Chris. You go up there on his open day, you can pick up plants like this.
There we go. So if you haven't already put yourself into Yorkshire Chris's opening days, get yourself on the list.
I mean,
absolutely worth it.
The plants you pick up from there, and these are bone hardy because he's up in Wakefield.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, this is obviously, we'll say, medium-term temporary planting, the begonias, the ferns, but it looks stunning.
Well, I didn't want to look at a big plastic. I mean, you've got to have the height above ground so you can see if the rhizome's running. So
absolutely.
I didn't want to look at a big plastic ring for 5 years.
No, which is probably what I would do.
Waiting for a plant. So all I've done is, I mean, if you look under here, I mean, look at the height there. Look. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to look at that. It looks like a big, like, toilet tank. 10 ferns or 12 ferns. Virginia, and I've stuck a canna in. There's a ginger, and that's just a self-set foxglove on its own. I've not put that in.
No, it looks fantastic as a mixture, and I think it really shows people, if you've got a young plant in, if you've actually been one of those clever people that's bought small and are patient, it's what we're filling in the gaps around. You can get that pat look while you're waiting for the main plant to size up, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, like this, Alpina, the expensive plants. You can buy big plants. I want a big plant, but be realistic. You know, I also want a new van, new shoes, and clothes to go out.
Oh yeah. Like I keep saying, we're all real people, aren't we? Real expenses.
That was £55, and it was like down there.
Oh yes, a tiny little plant, but that looks.
But I want
really
it, and you look at that new leaf coming through, red there. I mean, that's fantastic. Schefflera alpina, and it's bone hardy. You know, that's took -13. Wow. The car were parked here. That's seen -30. That's when car was saying -13.
That is seriously impressive.
And the car were next to it.
We've obviously got lovely grapevine there.
Yeah, like a grape.
Pseudopanax moas toes, is that one?
Yeah, Pseudopanax moas toe. We've got a fig here, brown turkey fig. Every branch is full. Now,
look at the fruit on that.
I mean, everywhere you look, and it flowers. Well, not flower. It fruits. I mean, they are flowers, aren't they? That's what they are. It fruits every year heavily. This one.
I guess it gets the late afternoon, evening sun, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to a guy years ago. It was a farmer, and he says, damage them, and they think they're going to die, and they'll fruit heavy. So what I did...
Yeah, there's probably something to be said about that.
You look here.
Oh, you've actually gone for it.
Oh, yeah. When that were a thinner plant, I cut nearly like up 3/4 of the way round and left just a bit of...
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Don't just read it in a book, try it.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Look at that one, no damage.
Your big leaves, but not a lot of fruit.
Where's fruit?
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I did what the old fella said. He was like 78. I worked for him. His advice. And you learn every day. You learn something. You never know it all.
And the other thing that gets me about plants like figs, agapanthus, everyone says they love having the roots, constrained, restricted. They don't love it.
No.
It just means that in those conditions, they think I need to flower now and I need to fruit because the plant's in threat.
I'm going to die. I'm going to die.
Exactly.
Make them think they're going to die, and then they fruit. I mean, that is just ridiculous. It's just every branch is full.
It really is.
And I love figs, so I've got 6 fig trees in my garden.
No, I mean, we need to end the video on, we'll say, a beauty and a beast. So for the beauty, I think this area planting, in terms of, if anyone's watching an hour of this video and want a practical planting take home,
me going on.
This Gunnera, the fern and the Rajesia is a great sort of tropical look without any winter worries,
to be
isn't
fair,
it?
that, up near house, it is pretty much evergreen.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it is, yeah.
And then you've got Tetrapanax empress. This is a different leaf to Rex. Supposedly Ardia, so it's another reason why I wanted that plant.
Love it. And when it comes to the beast, Shane,
oh, look at this.
What
I mean,
is this?
It's like a giant land crab. Look at that, like a big claw. I love it.
This
is Brassaiopsis fatsioides.
Proper monster.
Another one from Melissa. I mean, can't thank you enough for letting me have these plants because they're hard to get hold of.
I've generally not seen one of these before.
Yeah, and it's her one is just like this. It's out here. It's leaves and like it's just.
Is that you doing an impression of a land crab?
I'm like a little kid, you know. I get excited about these kind of things. You know?
Absolutely, me too.
I mean, I just think of them giant land crabs with big claws. I mean,
I can absolutely see it.
And it's got these thick leathery leaves, and actually
they are really so thick.
Yeah.
You let me sort of.
Yeah,
that is
I
beautiful.
spoke to Melissa. She says this one will take full sun, it'll take wind, so it's on corner at house. It is sheltered in winter, but it's bone hard. I mean, they say this will take -13, so once it's got a good woody stem. And we've even got manihot here, look, little man. Another one gifted to me from Tony Shep.
That can be surprisingly hardy.
Yeah, he grew that from seed, so, and he says, hey, have you got one of these? Here, take it.
Top guy.
Yeah.
I mean, this plant is an absolute stunner, and
I can't wait when it's up there.
Yeah. We probably should have come to this first, shouldn't we?
Yeah,
We'll hop into the video, but
I mean, I've got a lot of favourite plants in garden. I've got, but that is for me is just one of them plants. I think that's the best Brassaiopsis, mate. It's just
absolutely
just that big meat, like these. Look at that. They are like giant.
Oh, absolutely.
Crabs.
To me, I've seen the other sort of beautiful sort of snowflake-like leaves, which they're nice, aren't they? Let's face it. But this looks, it doesn't look like something that will survive. It looks like something that's going to take over your house.
It's going to slap your ass away and knock your about of it, isn't it? It's just like
it has that vibe to it. And I think before we finished the video.
Oh, my window cleaner's favourite plant.
Your window cleaner's favourite. These two echiums, to me, these really tell a story about a microclimate, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's a south-facing wall. It's a bay window, so you've got the heat coming out of there. I've got a radiator the shape of the bay, so that wall's got heat coming through it all winter, because my wife will not be cold. We have the heating on. She loves spending money.
I'm pretty sure you enjoy a few plants, don't you?
But
she's one as a bonus.
I mean, it's... They've survived. I can't believe they've survived, like sub -10.
That's a plant which really, -5 in a sort of proper duration of cold is enough for it usually, but here, -10, -12.
And you look at the one, you look at the one only like 3 foot further away, there's no radiator on this wall, and that's a west-facing wall, and that one's took a bit of a beating.
So there we go. Time and time again, my videos, it's all about the
south-facing wall,
the benefits from microclimate. I mean, really, Shane, I've enjoyed this walk around your garden. I think you've got such a mixture of the sort of rare exotics that we all lust over, combined with the beautiful plants that can only come from a lifetime, decades upon decades in the industry. Nah, you're obsessed with that bamboo, aren't you? But really, no. I've enjoyed this video, Shane. I think it's been really an eye-opener as to what exotics you can grow in a properly cold part of the country. Absolutely stunning. So thank you for your time, Shane.
Well, thank you for coming. I've enjoyed you coming.
Yeah, it's been a great day out, and predictably the rain started again. So I guess that's the start of your winter now, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll be bringing the fleece out now.
That's it. If you've seen it thriving here, it will grow in your garden. There we go. Thank you, Shane.
All right.
See you later.
See ya.